MJT Cattle Company. It's kind of the three generations between my mom and dad, Mick and Deb, and myself and my wife Shannon, and then our three boys. Oldest is Matthew, that's sitting here with me, and then Ryan and Casey. And we've been raising purebred Hereford and Angus cattle now for as long as I've been alive, I guess.
We did start at Dad's place there, and he had purebred cattle, but we moved up to our yard that we're at now, and that's when we started MJT.
We made the decisions for the growth of the farm, but as well as the growth as a family. Like, we didn't try and put one thing ahead of the other. We tried to keep a balance.
I mean, I always appreciated being here. I always loved the farm. It fostered that ability to get things done. When we started farming on our own, there was nothing in the yard. I can remember standing on the road watching our house go by behind the tractor. If there's a lesson at all, it's perseverance. I mean, it's just, you stick it out. You know, it isn't always easy, but it builds character. You know, it builds some strength, I think.
Kurt was always involved in the cattle thing. I mean, he did work out, went to school and got his engineering, but he was home on weekends when he could get home. So he still stayed involved with the cattle.
When we got married, I said, okay, but I'm not living out there. I liked it out here, and I liked that was going to be part of my family life, but I still couldn't see myself leaving my career. I'd worked really hard for it, and I'd done a pretty good job with it, and I just wasn't ready to give that up. He liked me enough anyways that he's like, okay. So we bought an acreage, and probably about a year after living at that acreage, almost every weekend we were packing up the horses, the dogs, the kids. And after a little while I said, maybe it'll be easier if I need a city fix. Like, I'll just drive to the city, or you can drive to the city, and we should move out there. And the other thing was just watching my kids out here. Like, there was no place they're happier. The things that they were learning about, just life lessons about life, death, gratitude, joy, and disappointment. Like, you can't even compare to the experiences they were getting in the city, right? Just watching them out here, it wasn't very long, and you're like, yeah, that's where we need to be.
We've wanted to raise cattle that were low maintenance, that would work for the commercial man, and we've kept that in mind since we've started. And it was good. I mean, there was things we had to tweak on the cows a little bit, going on to grass, and a couple things is disposition. You're going to have to tweak a little. You're not around them as much on calving on grass. Udder quality and that, you tweak a little bit, but it works out perfect because 95% of our customers calve on grass, and so we're doing the same things.
And the neat thing too with having Grandpa is he's been really diligent on culling and breeding for the best qualities that's available.
There's no sacred cow here.
No.
They got one chance, and that's it. And we've had different guys ask, well, how do you get udders to look like they do in feet? And I said, well, it's pretty well nature that's did it. If they can't have that good udder, or they can't have them feet that you like.
But Kurt and the boys and Shannon, they agree, right?
Casey was 4 years old, and he's, planning breeding decisions for his heifer and having real conversations with adults about the good and the bad about these bulls, and maybe even once or twice holding Grandpa accountability to his values, where Grandpa's, maybe been, a bull looks pretty good, but there's this one thing, and Casey goes, Grandpa, I think you need to cut the head off that one. and Grandpa's like, yeah, you're right. That's what I said, and that's the way our program runs, and just teaching our kids to stick to those values. Like, if you've set those standards, that you have to live by them.
Yeah.
And I mean, not that you have to, but you should, and you try to, and you do your best to do that.
I think it's also a huge benefit to young people when there's a group of people that surround you that have your back. It's just you always kind of know that if you were in trouble or you had, you know, you needed them,
Yeah.
those people would be there. And it's pretty, I think that's pretty uncommon.
I've been very fortunate to have only really been dealt with in an honest way. And it's something that the industry just has ingrained in it. Learning the value of respect and honesty in every single aspect of life.
What success looks like here, it's, you know, this place is sustainable. You know, if we can do a good enough job with the cattle, good enough job with these kids, that, you know, there's a place for them all to be here, or that they've taken something from here that is going to help them be successful with whatever it is they want to do.
We're proud of our kids, and I think people recognize that, right? We're grateful, right? Because not everybody gets. Now we want to live forever because it's just, there's so much.
We want the family. That's part of the reason we do the cattle thing there, so the family can be all involved in it. And if we're lucky, they're all here, they're all interested, and that's probably the most gratifying thing about raising cattle along the Battle River here, is we can do that.